All members of our city council are present. Ask Jennifer Baptista to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then Libby Flegel will offer the opening remarks.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
I think the only adjustment will be item 10A, the last, after item 11A.
Okay.
We have people have prior commitments and things that they need to be tonight, so if we just move Science Bank back.
After 11?
Yeah, after 11A.
Adjustments?
No, that's it.
I'll ask for an approval on the agenda.
Mayor, Council, I'll make the motion that we approve the agenda as written with the one change of moving item 10A to 11B.
I agree with that. I'll second.
I have a motion by Dan, a second by Eric. All in favor?
Aye. Does my mic work tonight? Yes.
Okay, we'll have an open session now. If you come and you want to address the city council on an item that's either on the agenda and not a public hearing, or a totally different subject, now would be your opportunity. Please come up to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Mike Carter, and my address is 2708 North, 450 West in Pleasant Grove. And my partner and I have opened up a How About This Way local food pantry in American Fork. It's right on the border of American Fork and Pleasant Grove. Address is 920 East State Road. It's in the Siegel Book Covenant Communication Building. It's about a 4,000 square foot location. Just by way of information, it's a nonprofit organization. We rely completely on donations of food, time, and money. It will be actually the Utah Food Bank, as you guys know, have been operating a mobile food pantry here in the parking lot for quite some time. And the last time they'll be doing it there will be next week on the 23rd. And then they'll be having all those clients will be coming over to our pantry after that. A lot of people have asked, why are you doing this or why are you doing it here? My partner Al Switzler and I met with the Utah Food Bank and a number of other people that are involved in hunger in Utah, and we asked them what we could do and where the greatest need was, and they told us the greatest need in Utah is in Pleasant Grove and American Fork area in North Utah County. There's no food bank or pantry or anything like that in North Utah County, which is why we decided to open up here. Just a few statistics: 1 out of 5 children in Utah County are what's termed food insecure. Pleasant Grove, there are 3,966 residents as of 2014 that are below the federal poverty line. PG&AF, it's 7,203. North Utah County, it's a little bit over 16,000. And people often need food assistance at 180% of the federal poverty line. People ask, who do you serve? Are they all homeless people and all that? We actually have one homeless client. Most of them are people that had 2 jobs and they lost one of their jobs, medical expenses, veterans, seniors on a fixed income, those type of people. It's important to us to be a really good community partner. We have a location in Spanish Fork, and in Spanish Fork we provide food to 5,000 people a month there. But in addition to that, we provided backpacks this year to 800 school children with school supplies, coats and blankets to 700 children, 300 Thanksgiving dinners that we're ready to cook. So we do a lot of other things in the community besides provide food. And we wanted to let you, the council, know that we have a ribbon cutting ceremony. It'll be sponsored by the Tri-City Chamber. It's on August 30th, Tuesday. It'll be at 10 a.m. And we'd love to have you guys, any of you guys that can come. We'll have various media will be there. We'll have the president of Utah Food Bank will be speaking. Love to have a representative, perhaps you, Mayor Daniels, do a short 3-minute comment if you're available. August 30th at 10 a.m. Any questions, or I think I'm at the end of my 3 minutes.
So we had a Tabitha's Way.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like you're not doing any of that. You're focusing on food.
So the clothing is collected to pay for a lot of the expenses of the food pantry, the 2 food pantries. So we have some people, right?
Pay for
Fun.
the food. Okay.
Yeah, we have some people in the organization that just do the clothing collection. That's all.
Is there anything else besides clothing? I
I
know money, cash would be good. But
mean that people can help with.
yeah, any other kind of donations that.
Donations, food. Food's the primary thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So we, food, volunteer hours. We need 2 to 3 dozen people a week to volunteer.
Is that actual food prep and feeding?
No, it's not a soup kitchen. It's providing food, doing food drive. The food we get, about 40% of it comes from food drives. People actually dropping stuff off, or scouts, or businesses doing food drives. About 40% of it comes from us going and doing grocery rescue. We're now picking up from several stores in North Utah County that were throwing food away. And then about 20% of it comes from the Utah Food Bank. We get a big semi that comes every week.
Exact location again?
920 East State Road.
Is that AF's address?
It's an AF address. It's just, Seal Reams Building, Siegel Book, Covenant Communication, Cox Insurance.
Just to brag for Mike for just a second, because he won't do it himself. He's so modest. But
I was going to brag on you, Ben, for
for helping out a couple nights.
Because Ben came in the first night before we opened up. Ben came and helped stock the shelves, and we're still using his stocking methods today.
Well, my kids loved helping out. I was gonna mention that Mike's doors had been open less than a week, and he was getting an award as the Chamber of Commerce Business of the Month, and so that was impressive to see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Would anyone else like to address the council? Again, this is for the open session.
Christopher Williams, 845 North, 100 East, Pleasant Grove. So I kind of have a question. It has to do with the public safety building. The architect said multiple times that the facility, if it was built at the pipe plant, as one story would be a lot cheaper. And I just don't understand why that final plan was 2 stories.
Maybe, are you available to come tomorrow night to talk to the architect?
I probably won't be.
We can ask that question for you.
Well, wouldn't he have to have some kind of direction to do it as a 2-story building?
But I'm not sure that it is. I have to ask. I mean, I'd need I'm sorry.
All right, thanks.
Make sure the question gets asked, Chris.
Anyone else? All right, we'll close the open session. We're now moving on to the consent items. Are there any questions? Any discussion?
No.
Entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent items.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Eric, second by Diana. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. All right. We don't have any board commission appointments this evening. Lauren Wilson, former Miss Pleasant Grove, now Miss Utah. Congratulations.
Yeah, so I just wanted to take about five minutes or so of your guys' time. As you said, I am a former Miss Pleasant Grove. I was Miss Pleasant Grove 2013, and that kind of got me started in the Miss America organization. And just so everyone's kind of for your knowledge, my platform is suicide awareness and prevention. It's something I have been working on for a very long time because I did lose my best friend to suicide. And so it's something that I'm very passionate about, I care a lot about, and have tried to really implement a lot of different things throughout our community here in Pleasant Grove as well as the state of Utah now that I have this title and this ability to do that. So first thing, I wanted to invite you all to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. They're having a Hope Walk on August 27th. It's going to be at Liberty Park in Salt Lake City, and it begins at 9 a.m. There will be a small program, and then it's a very short, maybe mile and a half walk is all, and then there's entertainment, there's food, there's different booths and resources that we can implement here in our community of Pleasant Grove. And then also on August 25th, so the Thursday before that, I will be having my Miss America send-off. And the purpose of a send-off is for all of my friends and family and supporters and everything like that to see what I will be taking to Miss America, because I leave on August 28th for that. And finals are on September 11th on ABC at 7 p.m. for anybody that wants to watch. So I will be doing everything. I'm going to be competing at Miss America. I will be doing my talent, my evening gown, every aspect of competition. We have had a lot of community support with donations for food. The doTERRA building has so kindly given us their auditorium for free as well, so that is where it will be held. So on August 25th, 7 p.m. at the doTERRA building, I just want to invite all of you to my send-off. I mean, I'm a Pleasant Grove girl through and through, and I would love to have you guys there and just have your support. And then in addition to that, I thank you, Ben, and I saw Sid commented on this today. You can vote for America's Choice for Miss America, and I know Ben has the link and Sid has the link as well, but if you just go to missamerica.org/vote, you can vote every day for Utah, once a day up until September 5th. So, and anybody else here that wants to do that as well, feel free. As many votes as I can get is the best I can do. So, and then I do have little personal invitations for you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for the way you've been representing our city and our state.
I'm doing my best.
Thanks, Lauren. That's awesome.
Thank you.
We'll be there.
Thank you so much.
Exciting to have someone from your hometown represent you like that on a national level. Okay, we're going to skip item 10A for now and move on to 10B. This is to consider for approval a request for a Class A off-premise beer license for Murphy's Express Convenience Store Fuel Station located at 1679 West State Street. Resolution or anything with that? Nothing? Okay.
Our local, Mayor and Council, our local ordinance just requires that these beer licenses be approved through you. There's not a resolution that goes along with it. The information should be in your packet. Carol updated it as recently as this morning. I believe they still had their fire inspection to complete, but she's indicated that all of the requirements have been met and that they are ready for approval to sell beer at that location. And just in case you don't know where it is, it's the new gas station in front of the neighborhood Walmart on State Street. Oh, do you? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, come on up.
To the group.
He flew out here, so let's take a few minutes.
First of all, thank you for letting me be here. Our company's excited to be in the state of Utah and Pleasant Grove. We're going to have 5 sites being built this year through the greater Salt Lake area. We are a large company. We have 1,350 locations in 25 states. We're headquartered in a small little town in El Dorado, Arkansas. So we kind of, I guess, are a small town company, and that's the way we view a lot of our stuff. As far as the beer license, we've invested heavily in technologies, to help prevent the underage sale, such as scanning IDs. All of our equipment is ID scannable or swipeable. We do mystery shops once a month, and that's the topic of the mystery shop, where they come in, they try and purchase an item, and they have to be properly ID'd. If not, everybody goes back through a retraining, even if they just took their training. We have a zero tolerance as a company for it. Should somebody fail a sting, unfortunately, they do lose their job. That's how seriously we do take it. And everybody is fully trained within the organization to sell, what to look for, and how to follow the proper procedures. Like I said, we're excited to be up here. This is our first location. Should be opening hopefully sometime between next Friday and maybe that Monday. I'm the district manager. My name is Scott Ballinger. I have the Nevada market and the Utah market. So again, we're just excited to be here, and we love being a partner.
Stores including this one, or 5 including this one?
5 including this one, and then Ogden early next year they're going to break ground on.
That's fairly aggressive schedule.
Very, very aggressive. We build between 60 and 80 stores every year. This year, of that 60 to 80, we'll have 9 between Las Vegas and Utah, and probably 3 or 4 more next year up here in Utah. We're not associated with any companies. We had a long-standing relationship with Walmart that Walmart pursued to end in February. Of our 1,350 roughly stores, about 1,100 or so sit right in Walmart parking lots, and they're of the kiosk nature. I guess kind of like a Smith's up here. I think it's a Smith's up here, right? Smith's, where they have the little center kiosk. That's about 1,100 of them. They've decided they want to pursue gas themselves. So how convenient. So they've decided to go their way. Fortunately, our CEO is very versed and was already anticipating this, and we already had our other direction we were going to go should that have happened. So we're excited. A little tidbit, we're a Fortune 200 company, and we are the 2nd largest retailer in the United States in dollar sales per square foot behind Apple.
Wow. Well, welcome
On our
to
little
Pleasant
stuff,
Grove.
we sell a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you for letting me be here. Thank you.
Appreciate the analysis too, and the zero tolerance policy that you have. That's good to, that's reassuring to hear about that. Thanks.
Take action. I need a motion to approve Murphy's Express Convenience Store Fuel Station for their beer license.
Will do. Mayor, I make a motion to approve a request for Class A off-premise beer license for Murphy's Express Convenience Store Fuel Station, number 8780, located at 1679 West State Street, Pleasant Grove, Utah.
And I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Eric and a second by Ben. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. jump back then to 10, no.
Actually, if we knew 11A first.
11A, we have an exciting duo with us tonight. We have Reese DeMille representing Republic Services. And I'm sorry, sir, I don't.
This is Roger Harper.
Roger Harper.
With North
And
Point.
you're representing North Point, is that right? Okay. And we wanted to have more information on the Bayview landfill that North Point is considering joining or purchasing into.
Yes. We talked about this last week in our work session. I'll give a brief recap of that discussion, and then we can turn it over to these two to kind of express the various viewpoints. There's kind of a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts, and so when I did an executive summary, I was trying to boil it down to make sure we could have a pretty basic understanding as to what was on the table. Our current situation is there's three parts to our solid waste. One is the pickup, the curbside pickup, which is done by Republic Services via contract through the city. That waste is taken to North Point Transfer Station, which is a contract that we have as a city with North Point. And then North Point has a contract with Republic Services to take the solid waste from North Point out to the Republic Service landfill out in Tooele. So there's three phases to that when we have solid waste picked up in our community. What's being proposed is that North Point, as an entity, would like to become a part owner of a landfill. Is it Eureka? Is that where it's at? Alberta, sorry. I put Eureka in here. Alberta, which is the Bayview landfill. And this is something that, as North Point has run the numbers and has hired consultants, would be a cost savings for the various cities that are a part of North Point. North Point Solid Waste Special Service District, we are one member of numerous members. Most of North Utah County is a member of North Point. Not all. There are a couple communities that are not, that don't use the service, but most of the cities do. So there is a board. We have one representative on the board. Lynn Walker, council member, is our current representative. There's a few at-large members on the board, and they are the decision makers for North Point. As North Point has pursued this and has headed down this road, they have provided numbers to us as a city for us to take a look at. Part of it is there's a cost savings because there's less distance to travel from North Point to the Bayview landfill. And then just based on, again, the consultant's numbers through that and the tonnage that would be going there, that would save the city the cost savings $2 to $5 per ton, which we estimate in our numbers as a city somewhere in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $50,000 per year savings. There are some concerns. The Taxpayers Association sent out an email recently with some of their concerns on the cost. I'm not sure where the taxpayers came up with their numbers, but they had a number over $5 million. The North Point portion of this is dependent on how many other groups get involved in this landfill. Is what I have somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.25 million to $1.56 million. North Point has funds set aside from the sale of property, one-time funds that they would use to buy into that. So one of the philosophical questions is, should we as a public be providing a public service that is currently provided by the private sector? It's not uncommon for cities or a group of cities to own a landfill. There are other cities in Utah that do. We, as Pleasant Grove and North Point, currently do not at this time. Republic Services, and Reese can talk to this, would potentially, if North Point were to start using the Bayview landfill, would consider building a transfer station, in essence to go in competition with North Point, and they have land here in Pleasant Grove with current zoning permit, zoning as a conditional use permit that's allowed in that area, which is a process that they would have to go through, but it is permitted in that zone with the conditions. So that's kind of the background, and I don't know who you want to have go first, Mayor, but we'll turn it over to these two, and then there's probably a little bit more to it. You might get a little more detail from these guys than what you're getting from me, so feel free to ask whatever you need and hopefully get all the questions answered. To my knowledge, this is going to be brought up for a vote again on August 22nd. Is it 22nd? Which is Monday next week, and I think we would like to give our representative a little direction as to how we would like for him to vote.
Why don't we ask Mr. Harper, would you like to maybe explain to us what your thought processes are, what the board's thought processes are?
Well, as a board and as a solid waste district, we're always looking for ways to help keep the costs of taking care of our solid waste needs down.
I have to speak directly to the
You can pick it up. There you go.
How's that? Is that
Yeah,
better?
that's great.
Okay. And this is a project, quite frankly, I've been looking at as a district manager for several years. With the creation of New Era, which is the Northern Utah Resource Agency. It's a project that we're looking at with 4 other special service districts in the state. Quite frankly, that makes it more economical for everybody to get involved with this project.
So you're looking not just North Point.
No.
Other?
There's South Utah Valley, which is in Provo, North Point Solid Waste, Transjordan Cities Landfill, which is up in Salt Lake County, Wasatch Integrated, which is Davis County, and Weber County, are all looking at participating in the purchase of this landfill.
It's Roger. So the price was given that you guys have between $1 and $2 million, but I see on here the price was $5.7 million for Bayview.
Divided by 5
Is that where you're getting
players, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Divided by the participants, whether it's 4 or 5 or 3 or whatever it is. So, yes.
I don't know if you can speak to this question that I have, but the Utah Taxpayers Association has expressed some concerns about the creation of the New Era entity as a removal of accountability from the public, from the voting public, as another step or another layer. Can you explain, have you thought through why that entity is necessary, or do you have an opinion on that?
It's combining resources, combining populace for a voice in the industry, in the public. It's not like we're eliminating a voice. The board is made up of a 12-member board of representatives from each community, each district. So, and those are representatives of communities. So the communities, all of our communities are being represented on that board.
You know how those board members will be chosen?
They're chosen by the districts that are participating. Like North Point, we have 2 members who are on that board. South Utah Valley will have 2 members, and so forth.
And so the North
They're
Point,
typically board members from North Point, yes.
so the North Point board would pick 2 of its board members
Yes.
to be on the board of this New Era.
Yep.
Thanks.
I have a couple of questions. Thank you. Sorry, they can never hear me, which is
They can't
shocking.
hear me either.
It's shocking because most everyone can hear me all the time. So I have a couple questions. What's the length of a contract that we would be signing? I understand the difference between private and public.
There's been some concern about the term. Typically, to pay for infrastructure and equipment and stuff, 7 to 10 years.
So Pleasant Grove would sign a contract?
No,
Okay.
North Point would sign a contract with New Era.
Okay. And then, so whose contract, so trying to wrap my head around this.
So
my
Pleasant Grove is contracted to North Point
Right.
to deliver garbage.
Right now, I have Republic Services that drives around, picks up the trash. And then it takes it to
North Point.
North Point. So that's a different contract. We're not talking about that.
Nope.
We're talking about the location of where the trash is going to end up.
Where it's going to end up. Yes, correct.
And so Pleasant Grove will sign a contract with North Point to receive our trash, or I am still...
You've already got a contract to receive our trash. It's good through 2019.
Or just changing your location.
Location of disposal.
All right. So how long do we project with the projected build out, the amount of trash that's going to be created?
It's put in here. It's about 80 years.
Barely got this,
Yeah.
and so now we're talking
Yeah.
about it, and I'm trying to catch
80
up.
years is projected life of the landfill that's out there.
Okay.
If all of the participants come. Okay.
If
If South Utah Valley, North Point, Transjordan, Wasatch Integrated, and Weber County comes, it's about a little over 80 years worth of life projection.
Require all of those organizations to participate in order for this.
At least 4, or it won't happen. Mm-hmm.
You, on page 4, you say additional 500,000 in additional operating requirements. Do you see that ongoing? Is that ongoing? Is there going to be any other?
That's just startup expenses to get going.
Uh-huh.
Then after that, the expenses are built into the tipping fees that we'll pay
Okay.
New Era for the landfill.
Questions?
May I add, if I could, in 2006, up until 2006, our contract with Republic was to haul the waste down to Carbon County by rail. And they had such a hard time with transportation that the landfill was built out in Tooele County. And at that time, we changed over to trucks. And Republic has been a really great partner to North Point in providing those services. I came in 2004, and quite frankly, the first 2 years I was there, I never got a night's sleep. I was always praying for a train to show up to haul the garbage away. But since we've went to trucks, there hasn't been a day that we didn't have the service that we need. But that being said, it's a lot cheaper for us to haul garbage 39 miles versus 93 miles. So if there's a savings that we can get, I think it's in our best interest to all of the cities to pursue that if we can. So, okay.
Reese?
Okay, I'm Reese DeMille with Republic Services, and I want to, Roger, I was praying 1 year before you, because I started in 2003, that there would be rail showing up. We have had a good relationship with North Point. That's why this is kind of a surprise to us. We do not, and again, I'm here representing Republic. I'm not here representing the whole private sector, although this will affect the whole private sector, but I'm just here representing Republic. We won't deny the fact that North Point should look at going to Bayview. It is more than half of the distance than it is to take it out to our landfill in Tooele. So looking at going to Bayview would not deny that is a good idea for North Point. Will it hurt us, Republic, if we lose that waste in our own landfill? Absolutely. One of the things the reason why this is coming about is because Bayview put out an RFP a year ago to try to see if because they were in the red, to see if they should privatize their landfill, so to see if the private sector could come in and get them back on track. They have since made some changes, and they say they're headed that direction. But in light of the responses that they got, New Era jumped in and said, work with us. And so what that has done is that has put the private sector on notice that if we lose waste at our own landfills, then we've got to compete. And here's our question, or our feeling with regards to Republic anyway, is we don't deny that going half the distance is a good move. We don't understand why you would pay $1.3 million to do it. North Point can take their waste to Bayview any day, any time, forever. if it makes sense. Bayview is never going to say, don't bring us your waste, because they had a $175, roughly $1,000, give or take a few tens, $1,000 study by the Cornerstone Company that said what you need to do, Bayview, is you need more tons into your landfill. And if you get those tons, then you can, obviously, economies of scale, you can divide the fixed cost by more tonnage. It's cheaper. And it's true. That's exactly why we are going to have to compete, because we have a landfill in Tooele that needs tonnage. And so we're going to have to figure out a way to compete with North Point. You know, I was probably in front of you a year or two ago asking you to sign the interlocal agreement. Now I'm here in front of you saying this changes that. It changes the setup of your interlocal agreement. And if we build a transfer station, we're going to come to you and ask you to come to our transfer station, because we're going to have to compete with North Point, and we're going to have to look for other transfer stations along the Wasatch Front as well to try to feed our landfill. That's just business. Again, don't fault North Point at all for looking at it. We don't understand why you would pay for it at all. They're always going to take the waste. And if they get the waste and it's cheaper, give them the waste. And last week I was at an American Fork work session, and the consultant that was hired by New Era to look over the Cornerstone numbers and kind of attest to their viability said in that meeting, and it's on public record, that he doesn't know if this makes sense for Weber and Davis County. Well, it doesn't make sense for Weber and Davis County because they're passing 3 landfills to get to Bayview. And so we feel like it's gone really fast, that there's still questions out there that need to be answered. And if in the end it makes sense for North Point or any of the others to go to Bayview, then we'll deal with that as we need to. And you know, hats off for them to getting something done that saves the taxpayer money. If that's the case, we just feel like, as far as Monday's vote goes, there shouldn't be a purchase of the landfill. First of all, if you purchase the landfill, you're stuck with that landfill. You're not going to say, well, because some have told me, well, even if we purchase in, we don't have to take our waste there. Well, who's going to write that letter to your constituents? Say, we bought a $1.3 million asset and we're not going to use it. So it's going to be used. If you buy in, it's going to be used. And if you buy in, then you've opted to not negotiate or give an option to the other 3 or 4 landfills along the Wasatch Front that could take your waste in a competitive environment. 25 years ago, and I appreciate Roger's words because we do feel like we have had a good relationship with North Point. We have one, but we charged them $25 a ton 25 years ago. We charged them $23.80 in June. So 25 years. Okay, thank you. All we're saying is the competitive nature. Thanks, Roger. The competitive environment works, and we feel like buying into it is going to limit the ability to compete in the open market. IRL has a landfill that's closer. We have a landfill. Waste Management has a landfill. And you may not know if this works or not. So just say in 2 years, hey, we're going to try it. We're going to take our waste down there and see what happens. If it doesn't work, we're not an owner. We can call Republic up and say, let's make a deal, or call IRL up or Waste Management or something else and make a deal. But buying into it binds you to something you don't need to be bound to. My opinion. Questions for me?
Let's talk transfer station. We just got rid of, or getting in the process of getting rid of TSSD, the stench. And talk to me about transfer stations and smells and things like that.
Smells like opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, I invite you to come up to our transfer station in Salt Lake and see what our transfer station looks like.
I'll do it, yeah.
You know, garbage is garbage, but garbage is also pushed quickly into trucks. And I mean, you can, if you do the right job, if you do a good job, the transfer station's a very good neighbor. It's a very good neighbor. It's all enclosed. So it's not something that, you know, there's garbage blowing all over the place. In fact, I had Spanish Fork come up and look at our transfer station. They said, "Where are all the birds we heard about?" Because it's right by the Salt Lake Airport. I said, "Well, there's not any." There was like one pigeon up there, I think. And they thought there was going to be all these birds around. There's not. It's a clean environment, provided that we do our job.
Actually, Sid and I went on a tour, and I was very impressed with how much it didn't stink. So I was expecting stench, and
But I think that was the recycling. It was not the recycling area that we went
Did
to.
you go with Brenda or Alyssa?
It was Alyssa.
That would probably been the recycling plant.
Okay, sorry.
It's dirtier than our transfer station by a long ways.
Oh.
So it's enclosed, but you have a lot of trucks going by, that garbage is coming out, possibly that could go into neighboring businesses or residents down there, or things like that.
No more than that drive down your street.
Other questions?
Okay, thank you.
Roger, I have one for you.
Yes.
I own a business in the private sector, and it would torque my shorts if Pleasant Grove decided to open up a movie using taxpayer dollars and start driving my traffic to them. Because it would be subsidized, I don't know that we could compete. I'm wondering if this doesn't represent another good intention,
But it's,
but not necessarily in the right direction. for
what it does is it helps stabilize the long range market price for along the Wasatch Front. It's not like Bayview is a private landfill that's going public. It's a public landfill that will remain public. It's just expanding the service area.
So in our industry, right, just have the option of having another entity just come in and join up with us and give us funds if we're not doing all that well.
Mm-hmm.
And from the description, it sounds like
Sure.
that's part of the motivation.
But 40 years ago, who was here to take care of the garbage?
No question. There's a time and a place.
So as industry gets bigger, we just okay.
Let's take turns.
Okay.
It seems that in the beginning, when an organization or an entity like the city is created, it's because the people in the area need to have services that are not commercially available to them. And so they band together and pool their resources to create those services. But then eventually you reach a point where maybe government steps out of the way and allows the private sector to go ahead and forge that in terms of your discussions with the board, where does that fit?
Well, I don't think we're to a point in the industry that the government needs to step away and let private industry handle it. There's numerous examples around the country when the municipal landfills have closed and they've let private industry take over, that their tipping fees, the rates have gone up. Not gone up a little, but gone up substantially. And I think that's what you'll see here.
Buys into Bayview, that the tipping fees will remain low all the time in perpetuity? What's the...
Well, economies of scale drives the price of landfilling. So the same costs that we would incur to landfill are the same costs that Republic or anybody else would incur to landfill. So, but if we have a hand in the market, or if we're there in the market, then that helps keep the price down. What happens if Bayview closes down and now all of a sudden all we have is Republic in the market because Waste Management's landfill out in Tecoy out on the Goshen Reservation isn't profitable, and then it closes, then all of a sudden Republic becomes the only competing partner there. I don't think we're competing.
Let me ask a couple more questions, Roger, if I may. I thought Reese's argument was compelling that it may make sense to look at Bayview, but not necessarily to buy into Bayview to spend the 1.3 million or whatever our pro rata share would be as a city. Have you looked at and explored the possibilities related to comparing the prices if we weren't an owner?
Well, there's always the bid process, and that works. What we're looking at is securing some long-term control over our future. Sure, there's risks with doing that, but there's also some security in owning your own disposal facility.
There could also be some security in forming some long-term contracts with all the other participants that may be considering this purchase, but rather than buying it, agreeing together for a very long-term, in theory, use of the Bayview facility.
Sure. I'm not saying that that's not true. We just determined that it's in our best interest to do it that way.
Right.
So when you say it's in our best interest, and you're speaking as a special services district, you're actually speaking as a government entity, which is owned partly by the citizens here in Pleasant Grove. So if the citizens in Pleasant Grove look at this and say, we actually own this entity, but the board isn't really taking into consideration our concerns, which this body represents, what does that say for local control?
Well, you have a member on our board. Yeah, everybody has one. Mm-hmm. There isn't one city that has more representation of the other than another one. So.
Any other questions? Reese, did you want to say anything else?
There's a feeling that you own the landfill, that you have control of it, but the market establishes the control. The fact that you have, Sid can't come in here one day. She's 1/5 of the board. Can't come in one day and tell you all what you're going to do. She gets one vote. I know you try.
I'm just kidding.
But you get one vote. Well, North Point would be Sid to the rest of the process. They'd be one vote. And so there's a feeling that if we own it, we can control it. I own a house. I'd love to get $2 million for my house, but I can't because the market controls that, even though I'm the owner. So, there's a feeling that if you own it, you control it. Oftentimes, if you own something, it controls you. And I think that's where the ownership piece of this thing doesn't make sense to us.
Any other questions for Reese?
I have a question maybe for both of you gentlemen and maybe for the rest of the council here. One of the concerns I have is I see that the Utah Taxpayers Association and New Era are both referring to rates in Denver, trying to make the case that this both doesn't make sense and does make sense. And so to me, that suggests that one or both entities is cherry-picking examples that support their position. And I don't know if you guys have better information, Reese. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Because I told the Taxpayers Association that because they called me and asked me. I made a comment in the North Point meeting, and I don't think Roger was there. I think he was out of town. I made a comment there about the Denver market because we service in the Denver market, and the Denver market is just privately run landfills. There's a small one just north of Denver, but it's about an hour and a half away. But the majority of the Denver proper market is all privately owned landfills. And we have one there. We have two there. And us, Waste Management, other companies are beating the stuffing out of each other to keep the prices down in a competitive market. And right now, the average rate along the Wasatch Front, government landfills, privately owned landfills along the Wasatch Front is $29 to $39 a ton. In Denver, it's $19 a ton. Roger, I called them. And it's 19 a ton. Anyway, so
let's keep our comments.
So we know what we charge over there, and we know what our competitors charge because we have to compete with them. And there's been some feeling that, like they've tried to use the Northeast as an example. Let's say in the Northeast, rates are $150 a ton. Well, an acre of land is $1 million too. So they're hauling northeast of garbage from New York to Kentucky and West Virginia. Of course it's going to be that much. So that's not an apples to apples comparison, but Denver is. So that's where that came from.
Thanks.
So we called and did an analysis of the landfills there.
Okay, appreciate it.
Roger, did you have anything else you wanted to?
I'm just going to say that the numbers we put on that sheet, we called Republics and Waste Management's land.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. So the vote is next week.
It's Monday.
Monday. So if we're going to
We're
give
not
any
gonna meet.
advice to Lynn, then we need to do it tonight. All right. Yeah, we should at least kind of poll our council here and find out what people are thinking based on the information that's been provided and based on the questions and whatnot that have been discussed this evening. Why don't we start over here with Diana and just
Okay.
let's just kind of go through it.
All right, I'll be really quick. I feel horrible that I'm just getting this right now and I haven't had time to read it. So I just have a couple of gut check feelings. Number one, we're talking about $20,000. I will always worry about an 8-year contract. That just seems very long. That's a long commitment to something that hasn't been proven. In fact, the thought kept coming to my head. It sounds like a little bit like waste utopia, when you have this government contract and you're just in it, and they can raise their prices. And right now, I love negotiating annually, semi-annually. How often do we? I mean, is this something that we have a 5-year contract with them right now? With
Republic, North Point.
with I think this is a 2-year.
No, your contract with Waste is you signed an interlocal agreement for 8 years.
Okay.
Contract with Bayview is forever.
Yeah.
It's not 8 years.
Oh.
It's for as long as you own it.
I feel really strongly, Mayor, that government's getting a little over-involved here. I think we need to be really careful about competing with the people at large, the people that are furnishing those things to us. And I think we better watch ourselves there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what's been said. I do have some concerns about the transfer station, so I would like to go up and take a look if you're going to continue to pursue that, because we did just fight a huge battle with TSSD. I had a council member from a neighboring city contact me who had concerns about the transfer station as well. And so I guess I need to go up and see it in person to kind of, put my concerns at ease that that's going to go forward. But as far as the vote for this other entity, I agree with what's been said. So
The same. I think as far as the garbage business, I think the private sector is doing just fine. I think Reese did a good job there explaining that. And so if you're getting just a sense of where I'm at, I'm status quo where we're at. So
I'm loving the comments I'm hearing this week. They're different than the ones I heard last week. I think Reese made a great presentation, and I certainly agree that this has been a very fast process. It may make sense to buy time. If I'm giving advice to Lynn, it's to not support this next week for sure, to give us time to personally call up Denver markets and do a little more digging into some of these things. But I share the concerns that are being articulated this week. When you create another layer and another entity, it never goes away.
so you're referencing different from past.
Lynn, does that help you?
Yeah,
It's pretty unanimous.
it does.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Reese.
All right, that's 11A. We're going to come back now to 10A, and this is an action item. This is to consider for adoption a resolution 2016-038, authorizing the issuance and sale by the city of not more than $4 million aggregate principal amount of its general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2016. Certain officers of the city.
Oh my gosh.
Thought she was doing like a little rap there, or a little DJ action.
Where was I? Delegating to certain officers of the city the authority to approve the final terms and provisions of the Series 2016 bonds within the parameters set forth herein and related matters, and providing for an effective date.
In order for the, we have a general obligation bond that was issued in 2008 for the new recreation center. That bond is in a position now to be refinanced in order to save the city some money. In order to do that, we set up a parameters resolution, that's what's in front of you tonight, to, in essence, reissue the bonds. And Allison Price is here with Zions, and she can maybe speak a little bit more, with a little bit more knowledge on the exact process. But the intent is for us to refinance these to save some money on what the payment is. Because it's a general obligation bond, the savings will be directly back to the residents, not to the Pleasant Grove City budget. So that's a good thing for our residents. And again, Allison, I'll have her go over the numbers of what that means on a on a yearly basis of cost savings, and then also over the life of the bonds. And then I don't know if we got a number for sure on maybe to an individual resident on a $250,000 home, how much they're going to save. So with that, I'll turn it to Allison and have her go over that.
Okay, so the original bonds go out to 2031, so there's 15 years remaining. And over those 15 years, the net present value savings will be $400,288 at the proposed new rate of the new bonds of 2.2%. That equates to an annual present value savings of about $29,000. And we did a little calculation to show what that would be for the average home value of $250,000. It would be a savings of about $2.40 per year. Per year. Yeah. So this handout I just gave you on the back side shows you the historical interest rates since 1988, and just want to show you that to show that we're still at historic low interest rates. And then the other side just shows you the comparison savings, the debt service comparison of the old bonds versus the new proposed bonds.
So on this chart here, are we generally at a historic low, or just specific to water, or what?
Yeah, no, this is a general historic low. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's really low.
Yeah. So this is from 1988 till currently to this last week. This rate comes out every week, and you can see that interest rates have been lower than the current bond buyer index, only 0.4% of the time over that period.
So net present value, 400,000.
Uh-huh.
Change. How many bonds can we do this with?
I know, right?
How much can we save?
We have one we might be issuing here in a few.
That would be a new issue.
A new issue at low rates.
Whenever it comes time to refinance, they get money to refinance. Sure. They have a vested interest.
And are these numbers net of any fees?
Yeah, that's already included in there. So you'll see that the percentage of savings is 11.17%, which is great in the industry. Like we use 3% as kind of the barometer of where you start looking at refundings.
with that, what kind of an additional savings are we looking at versus what you might have saved in additional interest?
Right. I should have done that analysis for you, but it's the additional cost of issuance of having your rating, your additional, there's just a whole bunch of additional fees there. And so, Jonathan, oh, go ahead.
When we talked with Jonathan about it, it was fairly negligible.
The process is much faster.
So the fees, one way or the other. Would anyone else like to get in on the?
Yes. Is there
lower
something we
interest
can
rates?
buy?
I mean, the public, is there?
If we had any debt.
Any questions or comments?
One quick one. Is there any blackout period or lockout period that would prevent us from refinancing again in 2 or 3 years? Should we find that?
Yeah, so this buyer, so let me just look at the provisions. I believe it's a 5-year call provision, so they'll allow you to refinance again after 5 years.
After the 5-year call. Okay. Thank you.
So that's a really good. And advanced refunding.
5-year call features that.
They go below 2.2%, that would be.
Oh, there's-
Do you,
yeah.
do you happen to know what home loans are at right now?
Well, I just
I'm actually really interested now that you're here in front of me.
I just locked in my refinance today.
Did you?
At a 3.875.
3.75.
I don't know if that's.
That's awesome.
All right. Any
More
other
for less.
questions directly related to tonight? Okay, if not, I think we need a motion. If we don't have any current bonds that are currently eligible for refinance, or I guess if the citizens were to vote on something like a public safety building bond or some other kind of a bond, that could possibly fit into these
Lock it in.
the citizens approve something, yeah.
It's just going to keep going lower, Diana. With our candidates for national office, it's going down, down, down.
I'll make the motion.
Yes.
that we adopt resolution 2016-03 authorizing the issuance and sale by the city of not more than 4 million aggregate principal amount of its general obligation refunding bonds series 2016, delegating to certain officers of the city the authority to approve the final terms and conditions of the series 2016 bonds within the parameters set forth herein and related matters, providing for an effective date.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Sid and a second by
Eric.
is it Eric?
Yep.
All right, by voice, Ben,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Sid,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Diana.
Yes.
Motion carries. It's unanimous.
That $2 is going to mean something to someone.
More for less.
Every time you can reduce what the.
I know, I'm so
taxpayer- that's
excited.
okay, it's a good thing. All right, so we're going to look at the August 23rd City Council meeting agenda. Have a Public Safety Building Committee presentation. We anticipate having one. That'll be pending whatever the committee decides tomorrow night. Item 10A is to consider for adoption a resolution 2016-0. Is that correct? Oh, okay. And that would be directly related to if there's a recommendation. Okay. From the Public Safety Building Committee. Discussion, and then we're reviewing the following week's agenda. That's the only item right now? Yeah, really. Okay, let me make sure that I'm clear then. The action item here at probably ought to just read it so everybody's familiar with what's going on. To consider for adoption a resolution 2016 calling a special bond election to be held on November 8th, 2016 for the purpose of submitting to the qualified electors of Pleasant Grove City, Utah, a proposition regarding the issuance of not to exceed blank dollars, general obligation bonds, to finance the cost of constructing and furnishing a new fire station, police station, and justice court facility, and all related improvements and related matters, and providing for an effective date. Probably ought to just explain this so that it doesn't go out as confusing. The reason this is even on here is under the new Utah laws about when bond language has to be submitted so that it can be on the November ballot. It's August 25th. This year it's the 25th, so it's backwards from the date of the general election. Okay. And it used to be different. When I was mayor the first time, you could do it twice a year. You could have it in the middle of the year, you could have it at the end of the year. And this time it's very different. You have to do the language so many days earlier, and you only do it once a year. So it may or may not be related to whatever the decision or recommendations from the Public Safety Building Committee are. This is more for the council to determine want to put something on the ballot, and if they do want to do that, they have to make that decision with the language next week, Tuesday. And if they do, then the language can go on to the November ballot and the citizens can act on it. If they don't, it will not be on the November ballot. There was also a question as to whether the Public Safety Building Committee determining the dollar amount to be put on the bond. The answer is no. The Public Safety and Building Committee is making recommendations to the City Council on what are the viable options and what are the costs of those options. The Council determines how much they would like to ask the citizens to bond for. And those are not directly dollar for dollar decisions. So, all right. Let's come back to tonight. Neighborhood and staff business. Libby, nothing? Okay. Ben? Nothing tonight? Jan? Marty?
Correction updates, Locust Ave, final walkthroughs on Monday. They'll be finishing up. It might be striped as early as this weekend, if not next week. Stripings occurred on 11th, 13th, PG Boulevard. Still have a bunch more to do. 220 South, 700 South, Locust Ave, Center Street. Anyways, there's a lot going on with that, so it should be done in the next couple of weeks. All finished up there. Garden Drive water line project and road reconstruction project starts Thursday. They'll start digging. They're already out there blocking things off and getting things put together to do that project, so that'll go pretty good. 4000 North Sewer Project is planned to start the day after Labor Day, so I believe that's the 6th of September. That'll be a fast construction. They've got to be completed by middle to late October to get the paving back down. So they've pushed it back a little bit, but they feel that they can get it done quickly, and so we're trusting that they can. Loader Ave, it's going not as good as planned. They had an issue with the gas company getting the gas lines in behind the sidewalk, so they decided to put them out in front of the curb, which is okay. It's not an issue. It's just delayed the final grading and asphalt work. I talked with the contractor just before this meeting. They're still trying to get things planned to get done this week. They're just so everybody's aware, the 60-day time period that we extended the contract for, or extended the time period for, ends on Saturday, the 20th. So they have to have the paving done by that time, is what the current contract says. We'll see if they get that all done this week. They're kind of working through all that with the mishap with the natural gas company. So
And school starts when?
Monday.
So Saturday it ends, Monday.
Monday the 22nd.
So we extended it for 60 days from the date of the meeting, That ends on the 20th. And they were supposed to have Second South and Loader Avenue done at that point. So we're working with them to try to meet that schedule. The contractor's fully aware of that. The developer's fully aware of that. They just had a scheduling conflict with the gas company, and so that's what we're working with right now. So hopefully tomorrow we'll know from their planning meeting what the status of that will be. So I believe that's it.
Just to interrupt briefly, if I may, Mayor, you mentioned the 4,000 North. Have we got the contracts executed on 4,000 North with the residents? Did we get all of them? Because I know there was some question about some that hadn't been contacted.
No, we have all. We have one that still is not signed that we're working on an issue with them, but everybody else has signed the agreements.
Thanks.
So Marty, when did you say locusts will be striped? Like, will it be striped and the barrels and cones taken off before school starts?
That's our goal.
Okay.
So we're tabbing it today, so we're out there marking it for striping. We hope it'll be done by the weekend is what our goal is, to get that done. So, and we are striping that with bike lanes, similar to what's in Linden per the request. We've looked at that and think we can get that to happen.
Okay, because my son's a new driver and he needs all the help he can get. So, like a line down the middle of the road would be beneficial for everyone, not just him.
Well,
I don't care, whatever it takes. But also, okay, the bike lanes in Linden, the ones that I saw, they were really wide.
They're 5 foot wide. That's typical bike lanes width. So
They just seem, I guess I was looking at the ones kind of down by Home Depot. I mean, they seemed.
we're matching the ones on Locust. I'm
Oh,
not aware of those.
Okay.
The ones they have in Locust are 5 foot wide. So
Okay.
we're going to be doing similar.
Maybe they
We're
were just
trying
a
to
little
do
wider
more
there or
5
something.
foot. It depends on our cross section. We narrow up in some locations, so we're trying to make that cross section work with traffic as well as bike lanes. It's good to not mix those two. So
Okay.
we think we can get it to work. Though.
Okay.
Dave?
Yeah, just a couple of things. Last Wednesday, the 10th, then we conducted a promotional test to replace the deputy chief. Because we anticipated some trickle-down effect from that, then we used that same test to cover all of the other positions. And so this is how it ended up laying out. The deputy chief job was offered to Andrew Ingeman, and he accepted. That vacated a battalion chief's position, and that position was offered to Captain Cody Jolly, and he accepted that position. That vacated a captain's position, and Lieutenant Chase Gussman accepted that position. That vacated a lieutenant's position, and Tyler Nelson accepted that position. So up to that point, we're good as far as our administrative moves are concerned. It did leave one position for a entry-level firefighter. And then today, I met with one other firefighter who has been offered a job with Lehigh Fire Department, and he accepted it. He's one of our full-time guys. And so he's leaving. So we currently have 2 full-time positions that are open, and we'll work quickly to get those filled.
Are you announcing who that traitor is?
Strong words.
He's going to stay with us part-time, so we still love him.
Okay.
And besides, his dog is still here, Josh Flinson.
So arson belongs to him.
Not really, but
He's
he
just-
started all this.
Okay.
So Arson's still staying here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Arson's staying here. He likes us.
Josh has done a great job with social media with Arson.
He has. And I think I'm going to make him keep doing that.
Yeah.
Because he speaks that language. He posts in
Dog.
in first person
Yeah.
based on what Arson really experiences, and he does it so well. I
I
don't know
know.
many people that can speak dog.
I know. It's awesome. I feel like I'm best friends with Arson.
Nothing. Nothing tonight. Sherry?
Couple programs coming up that I wanted to tell you about. We have one on Thursday this week at 7 p.m. It's Be Safe and Smart Online. We get lots of requests for internet safety classes. The ones that I've given, hardly anybody shows up, so we'll see what happens
This
this
is
time.
tomorrow? Or a week from
Thursday.
Wednesday? Oh, Thursday. Okay.
Yeah. So, but it should be a good program.
Age that you're on that one?
Teen and adults.
And so this will be how to safeguard like any devices, your computer, lock down everything.
I
That-
don't
that's
know
where I'm
exactly
actually at with
what's
Three
being
Boys, so.
covered, but I'm sure you can ask questions.
Okay.
Yeah. Excuse me. And then on Thursday, the 25th, we have the first astronomy club meeting.
Awesome.
And it's going to meet quarterly, and they'll have someone teach a little bit of astronomy, and then the idea is to go out and look, so you can bring your telescopes.
That's cool. And is
Yeah,
all
I
this on the
think it's
website?
neat. Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah, so those are the two I wanted to tell you about. That's it.
Merit badge?
Probably.
There is a merit badge, yeah.
So have we broadcast that through the
That, good question. We will now.
Thanks, Sherry.
No, thanks.
Wait, hold on. It's Kathy's birthday. And well, we can. I just want to let. But we did say, as part of our birthday present, we'd be out of here like little over an hour. So happy birthday, Kathy. I think we're gonna make it for you. So yeah, as soon as we're done, we gotta sing.
A lot of hand
Well done. A lot of handling.
That was good.
It's a good
Kathy.
thing. Out of respect for Kathy, no.
Nope.
I'm not going to be the one to mess up Kathy's birthday.
So I will be gone next week, Tuesday. I'll be back Thursday morning. You're the mayor.
Beat the crap out of you.
He picks those days very strategically.
Can you conference in?
I will be on business in Hawaii.
Whatever.
And it will be work.
Part of the time.
No, all the time. Have that meeting on the 30th where we're going to be out at Fox Hollow? Okay. Calendar. Now we need to adjourn as city council and reconvene as redevelopment agency.
I make the motion that we adjourn as city council and we convene as the redevelopment agency.
Second.
Eric Show.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. We are reconvened as the City of Pleasant Grove Redevelopment Agency. July 17th, 2016. Any questions or discussion on those minutes?
Just thank you.
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I can't say anything now. so. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the minutes of July 17, 2016.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion by Eric and a second by Sid. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion to adjourn and reconvene as
I
Pleasant
make the
Grove
motion
Council.
to reconvene as Pleasant Grove City Council.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to
Make the motion to adjourn. Happy birthday. Oh, wait. Come here and sing. Okay. Yes. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kathy. Happy birthday to you. Thanks for all you do. You know what? Turn off the audio when it hits the happy birthday song. Just turn it off.
Okay, motion to adjourn by Sid. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Ben. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you for coming.
7:19, yes.